During his time on the show, Capaldi's era in Doctor Who was hated by casual viewers and hardcore viewers alike. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you why that was and how his era is now one of the most loved eras on the show's history. Firstly, his Doctor came straight after Matt Smith's 11th Doctor, which is one of the most beloved Doctors ever by the majority of fans. He's also the Doctor that introduced Doctor Who to America, or well, into the mainstream audience at least. Matt Smith's 11th Doctor was in stark contrast to David Tennant's 10th Doctor. He was comedic and he was funny and quirky. The 10th Doctor was more dark towards the end of his era. He also had one of the best TARDIS teams. He had Amy and Rory and River Song, some are arguably the best characters in the show, and they're some of the most beloved characters ever on Doctor Who. By the time his last series had come around, it was the 50th anniversary. He had the 50th anniversary big episode and his regeneration episode, but alongside that he also had a new companion, Clara Oswald, who at the time was hated by fans. So when Matt Smith's 11th Doctor left, fans were already skeptical and doubtful about the show's new direction, with Jenna Colemans Clara being the new companion still, and Peter Capaldis being the brand new Doctor. It left a sour, bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths, meaning that when they went into Capaldis' era, they didn't give it a fighting chance. But not only that, the 12th Doctor was so different to the previous Doctors that had become before him. The 10th and 11th Doctor respectively were conventionally attractive and younger men, where the 12th Doctor was older, which sounds horrible to say, but a lot of people did drop off due to this, which is 100% unfortunate. And something that happens after every regeneration on the show is some viewers just stop watching, simply because their favourite Doctor or their favourite actor has left the show and they don't want to pursue the show anymore. But within the show itself, a lot of stuff had changed. By Capaldi's second series, gone was the sonic screwdriver and here was the sonic sunglasses, which was meant to be a fun, quirky idea, but it didn't work. It didn't land on its feet. For fans, including myself, didn't like it. It didn't make sense and it ruined a lot of dramatic scenes. Something that was also added, which a lot of fans and people didn't like in general, was the fact that this Doctor liked to play the guitar. As funny and silly as that sounds, a lot of people just genuinely hated it. A lot of people on Twitter and other social media platforms absolutely despised this addition.
Who put those notes and phrases together? Who really composed Beethoven's Fifth?
But there was also a lot to love about Capaldi's era. The writing was there, he was an emotional, heartfelt Doctor, and it was a darker twist on the Doctor throughout his entire era, and it was great. He also had some of the best speeches of the show's history, and some of the best performing episodes just ever.
Die? You don't know whose children are going to scream and burn. How many hearts will be broken? How many lives shattered? How much blood will spill until everybody does what they were always going to have to do from the very beginning? Sit down and talk!
He was a very dramatized Doctor, giving some of the best speeches in the show and making some of the best drama out of the show ever. But because of the reasons and issues that I had stated, a lot of people didn't know that until Jodie Whittaker's era came around. This brand new era of the show brought alongside Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor and a brand new showrunner, Chris Chibnall. Everything had changed for this brand new era, even the music, and people didn't like it. They hated it, in fact. Sloppy writing, difficult acting, and numerous other problems meant that this era was heavily disliked and is still heavily disliked, meaning that people boycotted the show, not wanting to watch it, meaning they watched previous episodes of the show. This meant that people were doing rewatches of the show, going back from series 1 all the way up until series 10. Meaning that Peter Capaldis' era got the love and attention it finally so much deserved. People fell in love with Capaldis' era and gave it the love it so much deserved back when it originally aired. People paid attention and didn't just purely hate watch because of the factors that we had mentioned. People weren't still caught up on Matt Smith, they just wanted to watch some good Doctor Who. I personally believe that if it wasn't for Jodie Whittaker's era being largely disliked by the fandom and regular viewers, I don't think Capaldis' era would have got the love and attention it deserved. I don't think people would have gone back and rewatched it and said that it was good. If you went and asked somebody what they thought of the show back in 2015 and what they thought of the era and what they thought of Peter Capaldi, a lot of people would have said it was bad. A lot of people would say that the show was bad and they didn't like the Doctor and they preferred Matt Smith or David Tennant. But now you ask the average fan and they love Peter Capaldi. They love the show. They love these episodes. They're some of the highest regarded episodes by fans. It's completely shifted and completely changed.
That is always sad. But everything begins again too, and that's always happy.
And you might be wondering how I know any of this. And I know it purely because I didn't like Peter Capaldi or the era when I was watching it originally. I didn't like how it came across. I wanted to see Matt Smith and David Tennant again. I didn't like how the show was going. I didn't like the silly gimmicks of the sonic glasses or the guitar, although I still don't like the sonic glasses, don't like them at all. And honestly, when Capaldi's last episode came along, I cheered. I didn't feel any emotion towards his era. I was purely blindly hate watching him. And then when Jodie Whittaker's era rolled around, and I hated that even more, I rewatched his era, I fell in love with it. I cried at his regeneration, I understood the stories more, I felt more attached and more emotional to his Doctor than I did with any other Doctor, because I gave it time and consideration, which a lot of people on first viewing of his era didn't. So when they went to go and rewatch it, they had that time, they had that compassion, and they wanted to actually feel something to that Doctor. A lot has changed in regards to opinion since the era ended in 2017. Gone are a lot of the negative comments the era had, and now a lot of people say a lot of positive stuff about it. Of course, some people still don't like the era, and of course there are still some negatives about it, but a lot of people gave it time and gave it respect and fell in love with it. And that's what I did, and that's why Capaldi in this era is one of my favourites in Doctor Who ever.
If I run away today, good people will die. If I stand and fight, some of them might live, maybe not many, maybe not for long. Hey, you know, maybe there's no point in any of this at all, but it's the best I can do. So I'm going to do it, and I will stand here doing it till it kills me. You're going to die too.